Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with all of my single eyeshadows. I have a lot of palettes now with single eyeshadows, and I did also pick up a couple during Black Friday and Christmas and things like that. And I'm here today to organize all of them. So I want to reorganize them all. I currently have them stored some mostly by brand, but I want to reorganize them by color. So that's kind of what I'm going to do today. It's going to be a long video because I have a lot of single eyeshadows to get through. I do actually have some wine with me, which is always nice. And yeah, it's just going to be hopefully quite satisfying. I don't really know how it's going to go yet, but yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to talk you through some of it. I'm also going to just have some aesthetic and the sounds going, but that is the plan today. So before I jump into the eyeshadows themselves, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I'm gonna start with my Cleon eyeshadow palettes, and these are mostly organized already. As you can see here, I have a couple random ones, but these are mostly already organized by type of eyeshadow. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these today and reorganizing. As you can see here, this is also like my newest one with the kind of miscellaneous ones there, but I'm gonna start with these palettes. So before jumping into the eyeshadows, it's worth to note that I made this kind of my perfect single eyeshadow palette a while ago, and I want to keep this as is. So this is gonna stay like this, and obviously I have a lot of clear eyeshadows here, some other things too, but this is gonna stay the way it is, and I'm just gonna organize the rest. So yeah, this one can go to the side. So the first one we have here is my jeweled multichromes going into jeweled lights, hybrid, deep iridescent, and then glitter multichromes. So that is kind of the first palette. Then we have this palette here, which continues on with the glitter multichromes, and then goes into the vibrant, glitter vibrant. What's next? The electric, right? Or is it the Earth Vibrant first? No, Earth Vibrant first, then Electric, then the Pearlescent, and then the Dimensionals here at the end. So these two are mostly organized. And then we have the last one right here, which has the Iridescent and some miscellaneous ones as well as some other shades. So hopefully all of these can fit in. And then, like I said, the last one, which is mainly the one I have to organize today, has the newest shades, and I need to be able to fit in these here into these palettes. So I'm going to start by taking these out so I can organize them by category. So those are all of the square ones. I do have some Cleona round pans right here, but I will leave them for now. So I'm going to start by organizing these down here from brand. So let me go through them. We have Electric Multichrome. This is the new Iridescent Series 3. We have a Vibrant, Glitter, Earth Vibrant, Glitter Vibrant, another Earth Vibrant. We have a lot of Earth Vibrants. Electric, which was that the same as this one? Yeah, both those are electric. We have another glitter vibrant, and lastly another glitter vibrant. So some different categories right there. These are the square pans from the dragon fruit palette, so these are going to go to the side, and that's them. I'm also going to take out these pans right here, the circle ones, because they should not be in this palette. I temporarily put them in here before, but they can go out. And then we have some more kind of random. This is an Earth Vibrant. This is a glitter one, I believe. Yep. And then we have some more of those kind of dragon fruit palette shades right here, which I'm going to take out. So there we have those. And again, we have up here, we have the jeweled multichromes, the jeweled lights, then the hybrid, the deep iridescent, and then glitter. And none of these are in these formulas right here. So this palette is ready. Nothing needs to be moved from this one. So that one is done already. Then we have this one, which is glitter multichromes right here. And we need to fit in these two right there. But in this position there is actually one that I'm panning at the moment, which is one of the glitter multichromes, which is in my pan of eyeshadows. So that gap needs to stay there. Then the glitter multichromes go down to here, so I'm going to move away these vibrant multichromes, and we can start organizing from there. So first up, I'm going to add in carving, and carving is actually, actually it's going to go there, because I was going to say it is newer than some of these here, but I honestly is going to pop it in there. And then we have Vault, which is one of the newest ones, going there. So that is that one there. And I'm going to start building on the next row, but first I'm going to remove this one, because all of these are going to have to be shuffled. So I'm currently on the Glitter Vibrant multichromes right here, and I believe this is the last one of them, called Noble. And then I believe the next ones are, yeah, the next ones are Earth Vibrant. So that means I can fit in the rest of the Glitter Vibrant right here, which, you know, actually I'm gonna move the next row out of the way too, because that is also gonna have to go out. Okay, there we made some room, so let's add in these shades now. And that's all of the Glitter Vibrants. So after that we move into the Earth Vibrant, and I have again these ones over here, which I'm going to add in first. And there we have those, and then next one is actually one of the electric ones. So before I add in those, I'm going to add in the next of the Earth Vibrants, but again I have an eyeshadow here that I'm currently panning, which is going to stay out, so I'm going to leave that there and then fill up the rest. And there we are. I also remember to put in Wall of Ivy right there, because that also is an Earth Vibrant. So that's all of those. Next up we are going to go into the electric multichromes, and again I have quite a few here that I have already taken to the side, so I'm going to start adding those in. And then we have that palette done too. Again, we're missing two shades, but those are both being panned at the moment. Okay, so we have these, and all of these are going to have to be shuffled again. What I think I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take them all out from the bottom down, so we can start organizing. Okay, so we have an empty palette, and again I'm going to continue on with the electric multichromes in the corner here. And there we have those. So we're going to add in the two newest electric multichromes here as well from the Christmas bundle, which are right there. Then lastly, before we go into hybrid multichromes, we have a couple of these pearlescent, which I only have two of at the moment, the rest are in that kind of customized palette. And then we have the shade Happy Accident, as well as the Dimensional. So let me add those in too. So there we have that palette. So originally I was planning to make like an iridescent palette with all of my iridescent shades. And I might still do that, but I feel like I have a lot of space in here, so these could all probably fit in here too. But then the question is, what do I put in this palette? You know what? I am just going to continue these down here because I feel like they can all fit, and the rest of the iridescents I might just put in a separate iridescent palette. I feel like this would just look very satisfying. So let me just fill these out here, and we should have a complete palette. And then lastly, we need to add in the Series 3 iridescent, which is one of the newest releases, and then we have all of those. I think lastly, because we do have some space in this palette, I am just going to add in the Dragon Fruit eyeshadows at the very bottom. And there we have that palette. We still have some space in here if we need it, but for now all my Cleon eyeshadows are organized. Next up, we're going to start organizing by color. So I'm going to start by taking out things and organizing them that way. And I'm thinking what color I need to start with. I think I'm going to start with blues, because, yeah, let's just start with blues. And I'm just going to organize them all by color and take it from there. So some of these are obviously multi-chromes, which makes it quite difficult to organize. Like this one might look pink on camera, but it definitely has a blue base. So I'll add it in with the blues. But yeah, let me try to roughly organize all of these. And I do still think I want to make an iridescent palette, so I'm going to leave those for now. But yeah, let's try to somewhat organize these by color. So here we have my blue colors. I think these are all good. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave these to the side, I believe. Or should I start organizing them into? No, I don't have a palette to organize them in yet. So I'm gonna put them to the side right here and move into the next color, which I think I'm gonna be doing green. And there we have all of the greens, a little bit more than the blues, but that is the next category, which I'm going to put again to the side. So that is it. I also realized, by the way, when I stepped away, this one here looks very blue on top, but it's actually more of a green. So I'm going to move this into the greens. And then also we do have a couple from that other Cleona palette that are green, so I'm going to add those in as well. We have these two right here, which I feel like fit very green. And then does this fit in the blues? Yeah, that can go in the blues. It has like more of a blue base, but that can go there. So that's those. Next up, I'm going to move into yellows. So in this palette we have a couple yellows actually. Should I do these three? That's more of a neutral. Yeah, I think those three. Nothing that's really yellow, more oranges and pinks. Again, nothing yellow in here. So move on to the bigger palettes. Yes, here we do have some yellows. This one here is like a yellowy orange, but I'm gonna add that into the yellows and have that as like a transition between the yellows and oranges. This, I guess, is more of a yellow, but it's also kind of more like a neutral tone, so I'm gonna leave that in there. We have this one here, but that's gonna it for yellows in this palette. I don't have too many yellows in my collection, which is something that I'm aware of, and that's kind of, I picked up a couple yellows in my last order, but again, a bit of a area in my collection that don't have too many things. That's more of a neutral. And then lastly, this palette here, which has a couple more. And I think that's good for now. So that is another category done, which I'm going to put below here with the greens. So there we have those. So I think the next step would be moving into like purples, blue into purples, but I'm going to wait with that and see if I can clear up some palettes where I can start organizing. So first what I want to do is I actually want to clear out this palette right here because I want this to be my iridescent palette. So I'm going to start moving things around to see if I can fit the remaining shades in other palettes. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take out all the iridescents too here on the side so they can fit in that palette later. I think those two. And this one. And then this here is another one that I'm going to put into the blue section like that. So then we finally have an empty palette. So let's start organizing the iridescent shades. No iridescent in this palette. And I think that's all of the iridescence right there. So here we have those eyeshadows. Yeah, so I feel like actually this might be way too big for that selection. How much space did I have left in this palette? They can't fit all in there though. Okay, I am gonna put them in this palette and you see how it goes. So I don't want to swatch everything out today, so I'm just gonna go by like eyeballing it to see what fits. I'm gonna start with the pressed glitters on top and then just again eyeball what seems similar. I might swatch them out and organize better at the different points, but that is not the day today. There we have the iridescence for now. Quite a lot of space in this palette still, but yeah, that's it for now at least. And again, let's see if I can clear one of these palettes out. I'm just going to start moving things over to try to at least get one palette clear so we can start organizing. So there we are. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with... This is always the difficult part. I'm going to start with blues, I think. Greens and then yellows. Or should I do yellows to greens, blue? Yeah, maybe yellow, greens, blue. But then this is going to go back into orange palettes. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start with yellows and then move from there. So I'm just going to kind of freestyle this again. Go somewhat by color order. Okay, so that's the yellows. Next up is green. So I'm going to start off with like the more yellowy greens. So let me take those out first and then we can go into the rest. Something like that, and then move from there to slightly less yellow greens. as something like that. For the first palette, we have some yellows into some like yellow greens, into like slightly more kind of neutral greens, and then like more kind of grass greens, and then slowly go into cooler greens right there. So that is the first palette done. But it also means we need to clear up another palette to start organizing the rest. So let me continue adding things into this palette temporarily to get it out of the way. Okay, there we have the next palette, so let's move on to the rest of the greens and then the blues. And I'm choosing this here in between, even though it has like a warmer green base, it has that blue shift, which is why I'm putting it in between the greens and the blues. So next up we're moving into the blues, and again I'm going to move into the blues first that have some sort of green to them, and then more into the cooler blues at the end. Okay, I want to find one more kind of purpley blue to put right here. I think this is the perfect one because it has more of a bluish base, and that is the shade Rain of Terra. So that is the last for this palette, which means this is also done. So the next color I'm going to go to is probably going to be purple, I believe. Let's do purple next. So let's take everything out with purple. Actually, let's do purple and pink at the same time because I have a lot of those two categories. And I think I need to kind of organize them at the same time because, yeah, there's a lot of these. And there's like a lot of overlap as well, like are they pink, are they purple? So yeah, I'm going to kind of organize them together. So my camera fell out, but I put it some couple more. So let's continue with the purples and the pinks. Okay, so here we have the pinks done and the purples. Just so I don't miss anything, I do also want to pull out all of the oranges and reds. And then I'll move on to the next steps. I did also, by the way, empty a palette for the next steps, but that can wait until I have pulled out the rest. Okay, so there we have the oranges, reds, purples and pinks. So we're going to start with purples, move into pinks, oranges, then reds. So we're going to start with the most kind of bluish purples. So again, let me just pull them out so we can start organizing them. So that's them. Let's move into the warmer purples and the pinks. I think that's good. So next up we do have the pinks. So we're going to follow up with like the most purpley leaning pinks, I guess, and then take it from there. So like cool tone pinks into warm tone pinks. Okay, and there we have it, the kind of purpley into pink palette, done. So both of these next palettes are very, very full. I kind of dumped everything in here, so I can't really, unless I start moving things over to like smaller palettes or just to the side. I'm going to start moving them to small palettes, and then whatever can't fit, I will move to the side, because I do really want to continue filling up palettes. Is this orange enough to be there? No. Okay. Finally have another palette empty, so we can continue filling this one up. So we're going to continue with pinks and go from like more kind of neutral, cool tone pinks into the warmer pinks. Okay, something like that. And then we're going to go into the reds. Perfect. And then lastly, moving into these oranges. And there we have those pinks into reds into oranges. Okay, so we don't have too much left now. We have these two palettes here, as well as some like random singles on the side, which you might be able to see there. We also have a couple smaller palettes, which look like these. And as you can see, we are not running out of space, but all of this need to fit into what's remaining in here, these palettes, as well as, I guess, what's remaining in, actually, yeah, this palette here has some space too. And so does this one. So I do have some space here and there. But yeah, you just need to figure out where to fit everything. What I was planning to do was having like a warm tone and a cool tone neutral palette, which I think I'm still gonna do with what's remaining. So I guess I'm gonna split this into warm and cool tones, and that's gonna be the next step. So I was thinking what to do with the remaining space in this palette right here. So the kind of orangey palette. And I think I'm gonna put my most warm tone neutrals here at the bottom, just to make it simpler that way. So I'm gonna pull those out. Let me see how many spaces I have left first to work with. So I have 9 shades that I can pull in. So let's just start pulling out the warmest out of all of these. I think I'm gonna pull out this one here. I also want to pull out this one right here. That one is another one. Some of these kind of shades over here could work quite well. I guess one more. That one is too pink. I think I want to pull in a shimmer for this spot. Potentially that one. What about this one? Yeah, I think that one is probably better. Yeah, I think those are going to be the shades that I pull in for the remaining kind of spots. Let's organize those quickly. And we got something like this. So for the remaining shades here, I'm going to split them again into warm and cool tones, and we can start organizing. So here we have the warm tones and the cool tones, and we have like a white here, which I actually might put into the iridescent palette because, yeah, it doesn't really go with any of like the categories specifically, so I'm going to put it in this palette for now. I do feel like I'm going to start with the cool tones and then move into the warm tones, because I have more of the cool tones actually, and I feel like I want to put these in the Sydney Grace palette if possible, and then figure out what I want to do with the warm tones. So yeah, I'm going to start with this one here, and I think I'm going to start by going from really like gray tones into more mauve and kind of, yeah, that way I think. So let's start with that. Okay, that is the cool tone palette done. I couldn't fit into the mauves in here, but I will figure out like different place to put them. But I'm really happy how this kind of cool tone palette turned out. So we have this palette here, which I could use for like a color story. I guess I could have used like mauves in here. And then like warm tones. What else do I have? I have the space in this palette, I guess. Maybe I can fit the mauves in here actually. That might be a perfect fit. So let's try that first. It's gonna be a bit of a makeshift. I guess when I have to start doing like Tetris work because some of it couldn't fit in. These two can't fit, which is a little bit annoying. What if I move some of these into like the warmer tone palettes? I think that would work, and then I can scooch these around. Which one is best to put in? So I took two out, and I am gonna reshuffle this so that I can fit all of the kind of more mauve tones in this palette right here. Cool. So there we have that iridescent into mauves, and that's kind of like a temporary solution until I get more magnetic palettes. So it's actually the next morning, and I did play around a little bit because my camera needed to charge last night and it was also time for bed. So I did play around, and my remaining shadows can mostly fit into these two palettes right here, apart from 3 shadows. I'm not going to keep them like this. I'm going to still organize them, but I want to test and see if they can all fit. And I wish they did, but there's 3 too many. So I need to figure out what to do with those, but I'm going to take all of these out again and start organizing. So here we have all of the shadows. I'm going to have a look and see what I want to take out. So my first instinct is telling me that like pressed glitters, maybe I should take those out. At least this one here, because I don't feel like I would want to wear this on my eyes, and I can maybe put it into like a palette to pan for my nails. We also have this one here, same story. I feel like I'm going to take these 2 out for sure. But then the question is, what is the third eyeshadow I should take out from this pile? We do have pressed glitter here too, but I prefer that formula, so I'm going to keep that in for now. This one is kind of sticking out to me as being like a bit too colorful for this bunch, but I still like it and I don't want to put that to the side. The last thing I can think of that really I'm thinking to doing is taking out like this blending out shade here. Maybe I will try to pan that at some point too. Not sure if that's going to be this year or not, but I still have like this shade here, this shade here, this shade. I still like blending out shades, so taking this out I think should be fine. So I think with that we're happy with the selection, so I'm going to start organizing these again. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more kind of camo yellowy tone palette, and then one with like peachier tones. So let me see if I can split these into 2 piles. Okay, so I'm calculating because they need to be obviously be even. I currently have 27 here, which is actually the whole palette, and then this palette is only 21, which means that I would have to add the rest of them, but I'm not sure if I want to. I feel like these 2 can go in here. So can this brown. I feel like that one should go with this pile. Or should it? So I'm thinking maybe in this pile I should move over. Even that would work well with that pile, but then I have to move something from this pile over to that pile, which should be feasible. Question is just what? I still need one more from this pile to this pile. Okay, so my mind is telling me one of these right here. Question is which one? I think I'm going to put this one in there and keep these 2 in this palette. Or should I? Yeah. A lot of back and forth, but I think I finally decided on the selection, so that's one palette and this is the second, so let's start organizing. Okay, there we have that palette. Not sure if I like all of these mattes together at the bottom, but it will have to do for now. So that is the kind of camo warm toned palette. Okay, and here we have that second palette, which is more the peachier toned palette. So that is the final two. Let me talk you through all of the palettes that I've created. So again, here we have the first two. This one here is the first warm tone palette. We have this one, which is more peachy. Then we have my big palette. So first up we have this one here, which is my cool tone palette. This is like the pure silvery grey kind of cool tone palette. We have next up my pinks, reds and oranges. This one here is my kind of more purpley pinks, so cool tone pinks, moving into purples. We have this one palette here, which is greens into turquoises into blues. And then lastly, for my Sydney Grace palette, we have this palette here, which has my yellows into greens. Kind of palette more warm tone greens, but that is the last one out of my Sydney Grace palettes. Really happy with all of those. Then for my clear palettes, first up we have this one, which also has their own singles. It was supposed to be my iridescent palette, but also had to fit in some more mauve tones at the bottom, so it's like my iridescent shades as well as my mauve tone shades. So that is the next palette. And then we do have my rest of my Cleon eyeshadow. So first up we have this palette here, which has, this is going to go backwards now, but we have iridescent shades, the dimensional multichromes, Happy Accident, Pearlescent, moving into the electric multichromes. And also, by the way, at the bottom we have these dragon fruit singles. In this palette here we have the rest of the electric multichromes, moving into the earth vibrant multichromes, then into the glitter vibrant multichromes, as well as the regular vibrant multichromes, and then at the top here we have some of the glitter multichromes. And then for the final palette here, we have the rest of the glitter multichromes into the pastel multichromes, the deeper iridescent multichromes, hybrids, the jeweled lights, as well as the jeweled multichromes. So that is the last palette right there. So there you have it, all of my eyeshadow palettes organized for the most part. I did have those 3 single shadows that I put into my current light panning palette. No, that's not it. We do also have the remaining 3 that I put into my panning palette. I just put them here at the bottom. I don't know what to do with them for now, but I put them in there to like a, you know, somewhat temporary solution. But yeah, that is the also like what eyeshadows that I have. Then for the rest of the palettes, we have this palette here, which is mostly empty. These are actually eyeshadows that I have decluttered, which I need to rehome, but I haven't had a chance to do so yet. So these are kind of temporary storage, and that one is going to be empty soon. Same with this palette here. We have more decluttered shades, which I decluttered end of last year. And then this one here. These were actually stored away in one of these palettes before in a drawer where I didn't use it. But since I needed one of these palettes for my neutral palettes. I just put them into these small ones for now, but I will probably pack these up now when I have them in these palettes and get these 3 empty, which means that I will have at least some palettes for BYOPs, things like that. So those are the last ones, and again, those eyeshadows doesn't count to my collection. Then let's not forget my very final palette, which is this one here, which has my like perfect everyday single shadow palette, which I haven't changed at all, but that is the final palette. And that is also going to be it for today. I know there's going to be a long video, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and otherwise I will catch you in my next one.
Bye!